Good morning, everyone. Welcome. It's Tuesday. I'm Nick Perro, not your dad, joined by my good friend Walter Ryan, level 36 magic user, for Notes of the Week here on Sick of This Shit Publications as we get off to a great start.
He's already going.
He's already off the rails today, folks.
I
Good
haven't
morning,
started
everyone.
dancing yet. Dance party.
Good morning, everyone. As you come on in, smash the heart. We have two incredible guests with us this morning. They won't be here for the full time unless we wrangle Fred in and keep him for the full time. We have a guest we've never had on here before, and someone I'm excited to meet today is Andrea Watkins from For Such a Time as This here on Substack, and a survivor of Christian nationalism herself, and wanted to get to talk to her about the Nat-Cs. And the Nat-Cs coming up, as we call them, the nationalist Christofascists or nationalist Christians, whatever you want to call them, the Nat-Cs are back. And we've got Andrea Watkins with us to talk about it. Plus, there's some shitty ass fucking men out there. And we've gotten a couple examples of shitty ass men this past week. One we weren't expecting, but I'm glad it's over with and outed. Let's get these fuckers out of here and do it before they get into office rather than after they get into office. And someone who knows a lot about masculinity, who you all probably know around here, our friend Frederick Pogue from Mrs. of a Middle-Aged Man. Welcome, both Andrea and Fred. Andrea, do you mind introducing yourself real quick to everyone? Because you're new to the audience today.
Hey, I'm Andrea Watkins. I write the Substack For Such a Time as This. I've been doing that for a little over 2 years. It started out being called How Project 2025 Will Ruin Your Life, which I guess I could rebrand it now as How Project 2025 is Ruining Your Life every day.
Right.
But so I've been doing that work for a couple of years, and it stemmed from my upbringing in a white Christian nationalist church and school in the 70s and 80s in rural South Carolina. If you can't tell by now, I'm from the South. I have a Southern accent.
It's beautiful.
Are you Southern nice or are you like Midwest nice? Because they're very similar types of nice. But how do you identify yourself? Are you Southern nice where you've got that oh, bless your heart or bless your soul, and you'll say the sweetest things to people's faces and then walk away and just be like, man, that
I've never been good at Southern nice. I've never said things like bless your heart. I'm more likely to say, oh, wow, that's really unfortunate. And I'm basically calling you stupid to your face. But
Good. I
really
like knowing what we're dealing with on this because, Southern nice is very casual. Like, I'm going to be super nice and sweet and then throw sweet tea in your face while I'm walking away.
It's very passive aggressive, and I don't like to be passive aggressive. My husband is Midwestern, as we were talking about in the pre-show. So
when we get mad, we just don't shovel our neighbor's driveway like we normally do. We're just like, here, take that. See, yeah, I hope you see how mad I am. Yeah,
I mean that's a pretty rough one.
But we shovel half of it.
Shovel half of it.
You just shovel a no.
I hope
get
you
into
get
the middle of your driveway.
Oh man.
And Fred, welcome, my friend. We've had you plenty of times, brother, but reintroduce yourself just a little bit so everyone knows who you are.
I'm Frederick Pogue. I write on Substack, Mrs. from Middle-Aged Man, and generally these days I'm just being a progressive, independent pain in the ass to the establishment. At least trying to do that as much as possible, And I'm a native-born Texan. I spent most of my life in East Tennessee, even though I was raised as a child in Hawaii. I'm absolutely not Southern nice at all. I'm more of I was more of the guy that, if I was Andrew's brother, she'd be having to explain to the law, well, he's just not like that officer. He's fine. And that guy, and that Jenkins boy, he deserved to get hit in the mouth.
Yeah,
that's the kind of Southern I am.
Fred you'll write a poem about him and do a line dance while you're saying the poem to him.
I've got a poem for Fred. Not today though.
Oh shit! Yeah, you do have a poem for Fred for Diogenes Club. So Andrew, you may not know this about us, is Walter and I spend a lot of time together. We do this show every week, about 2 hours, maybe even longer sometimes. And then we do a men's club show on Thursdays, where we just go off the rails. And we think it's needed. And Walter, what was it, 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago now? Walter challenged all of us to write a poem for
Yeah, I missed that one.
A bunch of tough old dudes writing poetry and reciting poetry to each other. It's just what America needs.
Well, the best part was I had just done a show beforehand. I do a series called Intelligent Masculinity. I talk about masculinity and, you know, making it intelligent and just sucking less, and for men to be better. And I had done it with comedian Pete Dominic. And as the show ended, I was like, hey, Pete, do you want to join us right after for another show, a men's club? And he was like, yeah, sure, why not? We got there and we were like, oh, by the way, we have poetry reading that we're going to do. And the look on his face was like, what the fuck did I just get myself into? Who are these guys?
Listen.
And then we read the poems and he was like, oh, okay. I'm good here. Like this is going to be fun. I'm going to read mine at some point here. I'm going to pull it up while we're talking. But I just want to read, mine's a sonnet, and it was about Operation Epically Fubar. And if that gives you any context of what's going on in my poem and how I feel about our stupidity in Iran, it's a dick measuring contest. And we've realized our dick is about that fucking big.
Well, at least
it's
you're
about as long as
they
Shane
have
Urich's.
They barely have one.
It's the dick is about as long as Shane Urich's beard, and Shane doesn't have one.
Listen, Nick, I got to protest on that front, man. We are attempting a feat that has never been accomplished in American history. We are blockading a blockade. Yeah. Now, it's never been attempted before because it's absolutely stupid and asinine, you know, and doesn't take into account the fact that it's going to cost even more money to do the blockade and piss off the rest of the world, including Iran. But you know what? I mean, you've got to do something to make up for, you know, the any penis, right?
Oh boy.
And
it's that micro ego syndrome. All of the penis size that they had went into a single human being, and they turned it into Stephen Miller. And so he is the walking epitome of a penis. For all, this is where we get lewd as shit.
Yeah,
just be prepared. I'm going to get it over with for my friends. Stephen Miller is the smeglemaniac. He is that yeasty substance like that gets inside the hood of a penis and is like a yeast
smeglemaniac.
That's his personality.
To the show.
And he does this sort of like he'll show up out of nowhere and he's like, Stephen Miller. And that's Stephen Miller. That's who he is. Yeah, he's a flaccid penis that's hooded, and he's an uncircumcised penis because that's what the KKK would be, is the hooded penises of the world. And they just walk around and he's just like, and he just gremlins himself into things and disappears for a while. So, and this is also a product. Okay. Walter, go ahead before I get into anything.
No, you know what? You two guys are probably one of the only folks that would appreciate. So I made a quip to a buddy about Kash Patel, and I said Kash Patel is the kind of insufferable dweeb and nerd, because I am one, that he would bore a chick to death by saying, yeah, I got a 20 charisma elven princess and turned her into a trad wife who converted to Jesus in my D&D game where I'm a big, strong warrior. His name is Kash.
Oh, God.
I play Skyrim, and I have a level 100 Dark Knight cleric who has 3 wives, and I've left them all in a house, and they're all barefoot.
Because they got a mod. They all cook me pie.
See you in Valhalla, brother.
All right, let's turn it over to Andrew.
All
I
right,
want to hear what
turning it
Andrew
over
saying.
to this
I wanna
part of
hear-
the conversation, where I was actually going with some of this too is a lot of the masculinity bullshit that we see in the world right now is driven by Christian nationalism and this like ultra like narrow view of how men have to be. Narrow view of how
What,
men have
dude?
to
That's
be.
what I was telling you. If
This is an
Walker
Arnold Palmer.
Percy-
This is a narrow view. This is what
Correct.
this is the Donald Trump view. This is the Arnold Palmer view.
Oh,
He was the one who did this. Just
He
remember.
did. What, dude? It's like I was telling you about the poetry. If Walker Percy and William Faulkner can write letters to each other, you know, like affectionate friends, which they may have been, but then why can't we do poetry readings? I write poetry, and we can read poetry.
Yeah, man.
You know,
If the Christian nationalist can read a book written by a gay dude and call it the Bible, then they can read poetry too. They can be a little more fabulous themselves. Because King James, the King
I
James
had to-
version was written by a gay dude.
I had to use that version growing up. That was
Interesting.
the only acceptable version of the Bible that we were allowed to use at my church
Yep.
and school.
well,
So
because
I-
Jesus spoke in the King's English. You know,
Of course he did, you know.
Yeah.
And so it was a real like revelation to me that my white Christian nationalist pastor had been recommending this Bible that was commissioned by a gay dude. When I finally found that out in my 30s that I'd been
How did they
memorizing.
question on that is how do they reconcile that? Like, is there a way that they
They don't.
reconcile that, or
They
do they
don't.
just ignore it?
They just ignore it.
yeah.
They just ignore it.
Okay. All right.
It's
So-
interesting. It's interesting, Andrea. Like I wanted to talk to you for a while, but because I grew up in East Tennessee, and my experience was I went from Kailua, Hawaii, where I was raised I was in a Baptist church in Waimanalo, and my dad, who was Southern Baptist and like rebelled against that. That's where I get my rebellious Southern nature from. And you know, he would always say that's not Southern Baptist because my preacher there was like a former Buddhist and then became a Christian pastor. And so it focused on things like community and, you know, the parable of the Good Samaritan, you know, like there was almost, I remember growing up as a kid, there was almost no like hellfire and damnation. And then I got to Texas and then East Tennessee, and suddenly every sermon was about, it was sinners in the hands of an angry God.
Mm-hmm.
Like week in and week out. It was like, you're going to hell for a speeding ticket. You're going to hell for this. You're going to go to hell for that. Like, I mean, everywhere you turned, you're going to hell for. And you had to go to church like Sunday morning, Sunday evening, and on Wednesday, and then whatever else they had. And it was like, and then you were in Bible study in school, right? You know, and it's a surreal experience of basically cultural brainwashing, essentially.
Abuse is what it is.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I've talked about that a lot because I believe that they use hell so much. It comes up practically every time you're there. That's one of those keys that they use to open your amygdala and allow you to be indoctrinated. You know, it's so scary and so horrifying. And I mean, I was put in that when I was 4 years old. I started in kindergarten when I was 5 years old. So very impressionable. I mean, I used to have nightmares about hell and nightmares about things from the Bible all the time because we were regularly treated to that as young as the age of 5 years old in the Christian kindergarten that I went to and in Sunday school. So it's a very effective tool for emotional and psychological abuse and indoctrination.
So as someone who's gotten out of that cycle of abuse, and I've met quite a few impressive women on this platform who have all gotten out of this cycle of abuse and come out here and talk about it really openly and a lot, is what has it taken to like to break down that abuse or the like teachings and the ideologies and relearn or unlearn the pieces that they taught you, like the self-degradation or the cult behaviors and I don't know if you ever were taught like the princess voice or the like the Duggar voice that comes out of like that culty thing. Oh, I'm so happy, but my eyes are so dead, and I really want to die right now, but I'm going to pretend.
Yeah.
How did you break? Did you have to break a lot of that down? Did you have a lot of that you were trained into? And what's it been like?
Yeah. And I mean, I get slammed about my voice still everywhere I talk. So I have this distinctive, I don't think it's a funny baby voice, but I keep my voice in my head and talk like a Southerner and all that. So no matter where I live, I get called out for my voice still. But it's my voice and I'm not changing it. So, when you grow up in a world like that, and Fred, my dad's from East Tennessee and was Southern Baptist. So he was born in Dayton. So he came from that kind of world. And we ended up in South Carolina from Tennessee when I was 4 because he got into a fight with his boss at work and he didn't like his boss. So we moved.
That's a Southern story right there. I love it.
Yeah. But I was born in Tennessee also. So.
Oh, where were you born?
Right outside of Nashville in Springfield.
Okay. Yep.
So, my parents both neither of them came from necessarily religious backgrounds, but they came from very abusive homes. And they really didn't know how to be parents, I think. So they came to South Carolina and found this church and thought, this church can raise our children. We don't really know what we're doing, but we can put them in the school and they can be at church all the time. And we'll protect them from a lot of the horrible things that happened to us when we were kids, with relatives and stuff like that. And so, I think they looked at the church early on as a place that would help them be better parents because they really didn't know how to be parents. So I don't want to say terrible things about my parents, even though my mother is a narcissist also. So, I grew up in that world and really didn't understand what it was. People in the town would tell me you're in a cult and I'd get really mad about it. I didn't understand why they would say that. I married my good Christian husband and when I was 23 years old, like I was supposed to. I did go to college, and he ended up being abusive.
Yeah.
And so I divorced him when I was 27, and I couldn't really go back to that world as a divorced woman. No other good Christian man would marry me because I was sullied that way. So, I started looking around for some other ways to be. And it took a long time to actually realize that, wow, I was in my late 40s when I finally realized, wow, I grew up in a cult-like environment. This really was Christian nationalism. My mom actually is a covert narcissist. I had narcissist abuse at church and school. Gaslighting was a normal event for me every day, all the time. But I didn't know what any of those things were in my 20s and 30s. Yeah. So I read a lot. I started with a book called Undaunted Courage by Stephen Ambrose, reading about the founding of our country, to realize that the whole history that I'd been taught in South Carolina schools, and I mean, this was true even if you weren't in a Christian school. It was, this was a white Christian nation that was founded and the slaves were happy on the plantations and the masters only punished them when they deserved it. And all that was in our textbooks in South Carolina schools, even in the public schools.
Yep.
So I didn't realize that the version of history that I'd been taught was this Christian nationalist history that wasn't true. So I read a bunch of history. It led me to, get a different science education for myself because obviously we were taught that God created the world in 7 literal 24-hour days. And, that was science in my Christian school. So people ask me all the time, like, what did you have to do to get out of this? And my answer is always, you spend the rest of your life getting out of it. You're never truly out of it. When you are programmed this way, it alters your brain for life. Yeah. And these things stay in your brain for life. I can flip a switch in my brain and talk like them anytime I want to. I can still conjure that stuff. So, what scares me so much about what the regime is doing is they want to indoctrinate our children They want to infiltrate all public education and make it this Christian nationalist education. They're already doing that in states like Florida and Texas. So Tennessee too. So, you know,
Arkansas.
Yeah. So, and part of that is it alters your brain for life and makes you more susceptible to being brainwashed and indoctrinated and not being able to think critically and push back and realize that a lot of what you're being told is just bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because, you know, you mentioned, you know, we have very similar kind of like family dynamics and, you know, where it's like I had parents that came from abusive households and they didn't really know what to do. Cause I mean, there's no resources like, you know, they're the kind of that would mock, back then it was Dr. Spock, you know, in that book, and they would mock that. And so it was like, it was school, sports, and church. And that's kind of what, you know, it was like, oh, give them activities, push them into that. And, you know, and what kind of sort of saved me a little bit, but caused me a lot of consternation was the differences in churches that I grew up in Hawaii and then East Tennessee, like I said before. And to your point, like, yeah, it's lifelong. It stays with you. You know, even today, when you see like the crazy thing comes out, like with Trump's picture yesterday, pictured himself as the Messiah. I was like, oh, there's a passage in Thessalonians that I can throw at this. And, you know, I dug it up and it's like, there it is, you know, or they'll do something like, oh, there's something in the Sermon on the Mount from Matthew, you know, I'll throw this at them. And you can just, if I can't recall it verbatim, you know, I know where to find it. And, you know, it's fascinating because in some ways, because my parents were so kind of like detached and they were both working and they didn't know what to do, that, you know, they inadvertently gave me like progressive literature, which was funny because like my mom was like, oh, Fred really likes history. Here's this big book that said A People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn. Let's get him that in middle school. And so I had Howard Zinn in middle school and I'm reading it and going, oh my God, this is what we did. Like, so it, you know, or, you know, it's like, oh, this movie X with Denzel Washington's out. Let's get Fred the autobiography of Malcolm X.
Oh,
and let him read that. So I'm you know, listening to like, you know, Public Enemy and, you know, kind of sort of deprogramming as I'm going through it. But the problem was like my entire community, and I didn't go to a private Christian school like you did. I went to public school, but East Tennessee, it was, you know, there were no Catholics.
Yeah.
There were very few Black folks.
Yeah.
You know, and everyone's like, no, like pretty much sort of like Christian nationalism is kind of the norm. You didn't call it that, but it's like, oh yeah, if you don't believe in Jesus, you're going to hell.
Yeah.
You know, that was just, people would just say that, like, you know, and like they would say, they wouldn't look both ways of everybody who's white standing around. Out comes the N-word joke.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just, it was the norm, you know, and that was the record scratch for me because they'd say the N-word. I'm like, wait, what? You know, I didn't grow up with it. Like, what's happening here? And so, but yeah, I mean, even that little bit that I got, you spend time, like the biggest consternation for me was not so much leaving Christianity. It's when I left theism and I became an atheist because it was just like, you know, it was but that caused me actual psychological pain. Like it was terrifying. And so I can't imagine what it's like for people that have been in the cult their entire lives. Like from as old as when they were old enough to remember anything, you know, and it is real damage. So yeah, I applaud you for doing that, Aunt.
Yeah. I mean, I've done EMDR therapy. I've spent money on therapy. It's a lot. And millions and millions of Americans need that kind of help today because of what we're doing and allowing to be done to their brains, not just in these churches, but in social media and elsewhere. You know, we're damaging people's brains intentionally, I think.
And one of the ways that, Walter, I'm going to shift us to our next part here real quick, because I don't want to lose I don't want to lose track of time before we lose Andra this morning to get to her artwork that was submitted. Because part of fighting Christian nationalism and part of fighting this time right now, fascism in general, is purposely creating and purposely making joy for ourselves and finding time for joy and finding time to celebrate those who are around us. Specifically for Walter and I, we use this as an excuse to celebrate our kids and the incredible artwork that they make. And Walter has two amazing daughters who do some fabulous pieces of art. And I have a daughter and a son. My daughter does some fabulous pieces of art too, I think, anyway. I'm very proud of her. And my son is very creative with Legos and other things, and I'm excited to get some of his stuff on here too that he does. Is we like to celebrate, because one of the things Christian nationalists don't like to do is celebrate anything their kids fucking do unless it benefits them as a person. And
deliberately hold your kids back, because you have to dominate all things. So if your kids surpass you, they have to be held back. And that's why we dismantle education. It's really sad. It ends in broken relationships. I'm surprised if you managed to escape estrangement, Andra. I mean, that's a good thing, I guess. But we don't have to get into that. But I mean, estrangement is kind of.
I don't talk to my family.
Okay, I don't talk to my and so much of your history
I don't either. Like
it was paralleling mine. I went to live in Peru just to get away from everybody, and that helped change my brain, because it's like a whole nother culture, a whole nother language. And so, but I've reflected on it too. I'm age 40. It was having my kids. It was a big part of it, where it's like the only evil they're going to experience is the evil I bring, it's not inherent to them, and overcoming that. Just the other day, it occurred to me, my kids are looking at the world from a perspective I can't understand, because I see that big gaping abyss, and they'll just trot over it, and I'm just like, I'm trying to not fall in there again all the time. That's all I spend my time thinking about. And so I guess it's like, I worry about them, but at the same time, I know they're just like, they have so much more power than me. So I guess that's the future we're looking for.
And we like to celebrate that power.
Yeah.
And especially right now, friends in the chat, things like the 7-9 mandate, Christian supremacy, Christian nationalism in general, Catholic nationalism, Opus Dei, all those types of
burning books. They burn books. Because, and you said about books, because it was the healthy relationships in books that gave me something to aspire to. Like, there's romance. I thought I was reading fantasy. I was really reading it for the romance and the friendships. Because I didn't know this until like 4 or 5 years ago. But my favorite part was like getting a team together, and they actually helped each other. I'm just like, I want that in my life. And the amount that you, and like Fred says, the amount of stuff that you have to, it makes you afraid to get away from. But until you push that stuff away, you're driving all your friendships and relationships away. And that's so hard, where you just have to have that moment where you're floating in the pool, you push away from the ledge, you're like, I'm going to drown. And you just have to be like, I accept that, because I can't live like this anymore. And then good things start to happen. But overcoming that fear, that's a work in process. How we help other people do that, I don't fully have the answer.
I literally got a bachelor's degree in history and philosophy with emphasis in religious studies to deprogram.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I did. Like, most of the history I took, even on the history side, was historiography and the history of religion. I studied the history of Islam. I studied the history of Buddhism. I studied the history of Christianity, multiple classes. Historical Jesus. Like, I've read Bart Ehrman. I've read biblical scholars, like not actual like theologians, like people that have done the archaeological and the textual historical analysis. Like, I pretty much got damn near a divinity degree to deprogram from, and I didn't go through it like a lot of other people did. I mean, pretty much that bookshelf that you see in the right side of my screen, the top 2 is all religious books, like those top 2 shelves from school, and I've got more all over the place. Like, I mean, you name it. So yeah, I mean, I completely understand your point, Walter. Like, it's I mean, it is psychological trauma that is inflicted upon folks that are going through this.
Well,
You know,
I'm
and it's-
excited about the art thing because
Oh,
I
okay,
wasn't
yeah, yeah.
allowed to learn about art at all because
Wow.
art made you, it made you create, it made you think about bad, perverted people. All the artists were bad and perverted. So I never learned about art. And that's something I taught myself as an adult. And now some of my closest friends are artists. And I have a
Nice.
huge self-taught art education as a result of, every time I walk into a new museum, I cry because
Did you
I
bring
can't
some?
believe I'm there.
Yes,
I did.
we've got
some.
2 pieces
Good.
from Andrew today. Fred didn't send me any. I asked him to, but he didn't send me any.
Well,
I'm
I
not
can
an-
be
I-
fast.
I'm not
Go
an
ahead.
artist. I just write poetry.
Yes, you are. Just
Yes,
get a
you
pen.
are.
I just write poetry. I'm a
Everybody
writer.
is.
That's art, though. Writing is art.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but yours is better looking. I mean, I like this spaghetti man.
This is my daughter made this. It's a portrait of me. I always had this red hat that I unfortunately can't wear this red hat anymore. It was like one of my beanie caps. I'm just like, no number, no name on it or anything. But she just did this. I guess that's the black dot in the middle is my nose, I guess, and my mouth is down in the beard. But this hangs by my desk. I guess you can't see it today, but if you see my other lives, it hangs right over here. I thought people might want to see it. Yeah, I always tell them in every Christmas and thing, it's like, I want art from you guys. Don't buy anything from me. I always want something like this. And yeah, and just that with that issue of estrangement, we were watching a movie over the weekend where estrangement was one of the main topics. And I'm just like, because it's coming up for me. I'm coming up on half my life not talking to my dad. It'll be when I turn 52, that'll be the case. And
Wow.
I worry about it with my own kids, and the movie we were watching was Warrior. I don't know if it was like this martial arts movie, but it's estrangement is the real plot. And there's a scene in that it's Tom Hardy and he's just putting it to his dad. He's just like, nobody cares about you. You just sit around. And when you watch these movies, you feel bad for the father, but they never show the abuse that father inflicted on the kids. We always get that other side, like, oh, you should forget it. You should worry about, and this is the line of abusers. Let's think of the good times. Why aren't you remembering the good times? It's like, why don't you repair the bad times first? And they never talk about it. So I was watching this scene. I just started laughing, which was kind of a weird sounding laugh because he's just like, you're nothing. And he's like throwing a thing of coins at his dad. And my kids were just sort of like, gee, it's strange how you laugh at that. I'm just like, yeah, that those dads who abuse their kids, man, they don't deserve pity. And they're just like, well, we don't have experience with that. And I'm just like, it almost made me cry when they said that. That was just one of those moments. So that's an ongoing thing. I would like to talk to you more, Andrew. If you want to have a conversation about estrangement, I think that would be kind of that could be a hopeful and healing process. So open invitation.
I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, great.
Walter, I love this.
Thank you.
I do
I love
too.
this
Is that
piece.
yarn? Is it made with yarn or is it?
It's
Okay.
yarn. Yeah, they're creative. I always give them art supplies. It's just and we'll sit down and make things together. And it's just like, and it's so helpful. That's another way to help deprogram you. Really, you sit down when you're feeling stressed, do some art. And that's probably why they always cut art programs at our schools. They want to ban books, all these things that could help us escape. And, it's white supremacy conditioning, and it's hate conditioning, all these things. We just have to we almost sanitize it when we call it white Christian nationalism because it's abuse. It's plain and simple abuse. It destroys your ability to have helpful, compassionate, cooperative, caring relationships with your kids, with your spouse, with anybody. And so that's what we're fighting against.
It's funny. I had a really profound conversation with this is years ago with a colleague of mine when I was in grad school. And, he was like me, he was studying the church because it was like deprogramming and everything else. And we talked about the sort of just this thing that it doesn't seem insidious, but it really is. And that's the Protestant work ethic, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because even in our society and our culture, that's pushed out as like, we applaud ourselves on how much we can work and how much we can toil and how much
pain we can take.
Right. But that's not the fundamental thing that defines us as humans, because again, primates can use tools and can toil and work. It's what he came to is he said, it's actually creativity. That is something we do not push. How many times what are you going to do with that art degree? What are you going to do with blah, 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 blah?
Get a real job. Yeah.
But
Or my parents saying, "You're a writer, you don't do anything."
Yep.
correct. I get that all the time too. And you know, so like, what is this thing like? But what do we look forward to? Our favorite shows, or as Andrea mentioned, you go into an art museum and you just weep, right? I mean, even Nietzsche said that the thing that you strive for against the abyss was art, was the creation of art. Like that's the thing you aspire to. So I'm just saying all that to be like, supporting your kids like this, you're doing so much.
It's huge. Yeah.
It's massive. And it's like, that's the deprogramming that you got to break from, where again, we have, and that's what leads to our exploitation is like, well, I got to have that good Protestant work ethic. I can't think about art. I can't think about creativity, you know.
And notice how the right uses AI. Notice how they just flood the zone with their AI junk, you know, and we've got our real artists, our human beings. It's just another part of dehumanizing everything.
We had Hallie Claire Williams on, or Weems, I'm sorry, Hallie Claire Weems on the other week.
Yeah.
And holy shit, that woman is an incredible
She could teach
artist.
Rembrandt.
Like,
she could teach Rembrandt a few things. That's literally, that's how good she is.
Yeah, she's so freaking amazing. And we just sat there we derailed our entire show with Marlon Weems and brought his daughter on, she's a young adult artist who is aspiring and just getting into the field. She graduated college not too long ago, and she's starting in the field. And we literally
amazing. I've seen some of her stuff.
Oh my God. Yeah. We spent an hour and a half just talking with her. We were just
I did
like,
a live
okay, show's over. We're talking with you, Hallie Claire, now.
I did a live with Hallie Claire just to tell her how to survive as an artist. And it's like, creating the art is the win. It's like, don't worry. It's like, you make money to support your art. I mean, it's not the other way around. You don't make the art it's like, every time you create something, that's a victory. So just keep doing it. I'm just like, after doing this for 50 years and being told not to write anymore, it's just like, here's the hard learned lessons I have. Just like, I mean, her dad's a finance guy, so she's going to have at least some, you know, some things that way, like setting up some accounts for her. But yeah, just inspiring her to just keep creating. And we have to do that for everybody.
Yeah. And we'll move on to my daughters. And that's one of the reasons we do this, is so that so my daughter's
I love that.
She's into drawing anime, and she's working on like eyeballs and combining different things. So she spent the creative process in all of this she actually does the whole like mock-up beneath. She'll draw the proportions out, and then she'll erase it and build. She does layering for herself, and she's learning on how to make more realistic anime human bodies, and I love it. I think it's freaking awesome. And I tell her every week, or ask her each week, I'm like, hey, do you have a new piece that I can take a picture of and show to everybody? And she looks forward to it, and I talk to her about it, and this is my way of just encouraging her to do it for fun and just be proud of something that she does
and honoring that.
Fantastic. And she's so awesome. She's so creative. She always has been. And I love showing off her artwork. But yeah, I don't know who this character is supposed to be. I don't remember exactly what game it's from that she pulled it out of, but it's like the shading on his face is awesome. The hat is I love it. And the orca in the background is actually one of her stuffed animals that she has restarted drawing in different ways. And I love it.
It's beautiful. I love it too.
Nice. Very nice.
All right, moving on to our third page here is Andra. These ones are yours.
Okay.
Awesome. Oh,
there it is.
All right, Andra, tell us about these.
Nice.
All right, so we were talking about Protestant work ethic, which really comes from this notion that I grew up with, that an idle mind is the devil's workshop and you always have to be occupied. This is part of what drives these Christian nationalists to want children to work and lower the working ages and keep children busy and occupied working as young as possible. So, when I started writing, I kind of had that mentality about it too. You're encouraged to always be making something new, always be working, always be producing. And so in 2016, I started getting residencies abroad in Europe and applying for them. And I would do them with artists because I didn't want to hang out with a bunch of writers all the time. So I was always with people who made visual stuff. I appreciated the way they helped me see the world differently. And it really got me out of that mentality of I always have to be being productive. You know, I might go to a residency and just wander around for 2 weeks outside in my own head and then come back and make something, you know, but we don't treat that kind of time like it's valuable.
Yeah.
We try not to give people that kind of time. So I did residencies to give myself that kind of time and rewire my brain that way. So the piece on the left that I'm holding is a piece by a French-German artist based in Paris named Andrea Weber. I met her in Iceland in 2020. I was on a residency in Northern Iceland, and they allowed me to come in during the pandemic and do my residency. It was so awesome. So there was like nobody in Iceland. And so I met her there, and we become dear friends and stayed in touch. So that is a piece of her work. She's had shows in France and in Germany and in Iceland, and is looking to expand her footprint. She does a lot of weather transcription. So if you go to her website, andreaweber.net, you can see a lot more of her work. And I'm just really proud of her. She's such a lovely person. On the right, that is a sweater that I knitted for my husband. So that is my Midwestern husband. I did put his picture on the internet. He's sitting over there, my Wisconsin husband. And so that's a sweater I knitted for him. I didn't teach myself to knit. I learned to knit in Iceland. An Icelandic woman taught me how to knit. So I knit the Icelandic way, as she says, not the stupid American way. I'm not teaching you that way. So I knit in the round from the left, like I think it's called the continental way, not the throw over way that you throw and knit with your right hand. So that's a piece I made for my husband last year. So
I love the little piece of gold right on the end of the sleeve for it. I didn't notice that at first.
Yeah, he chose all those. He chose that yarn and chose those colors and
beautiful.
Kind of told me how he wanted me to do it. So that is, you know, that was his idea.
The idea of knitting brought a story to mind. My wife often works with, well, she's an ELL teacher, so she's worked with a lot of kids who were, you know, refugees and stuff. And she worked with this one little boy, and he was he'd been separated from his parents, like the first round of that. And while he was in whatever camp they had it in, somebody taught him to knit. And so his trauma was such that he even in class, he was just sitting there, he would just make this poor kid, like the trauma of being in that camp, and he learned to knit so well just to kind of get that out of him, and he was just creating things. And so I don't know, I guess I think my kids do that to some, they knit but just like that expression, the power of it, and just like compared with like the healing power of any kind of creative expression, and then just the inherent cruelty of prohibiting it, you know, in whatever way you can, by forcing people, like their deceptive cruelty of saying you have to be occupied in work that we consider work, and like the idea of your restoring your own mental health is outside of that. And just that worldview is so, I mean, I've been trying to do a lot of work diagramming because they hide their cruelty, they disguise it, they camouflage it, they try to normalize it, and we always end up being the ones apologizing just for our trying to survive. I've talked about that with Bob Dana. Why is it that we allow the right to reframe literally everything we talk about, and we have to abide by their contorted perspective all the time? So we're in that era of recalibration where hopefully we're fighting back or breaking out of that. But yeah, that's what this made me think of. So thank you.
This makes me happy. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Andrea, for both of these.
Wow.
And let's shift back into our next part, which is also returning back to what we were talking about before in a lot of ways. And I'm going to open it up, not with Fred's note, but with Andrea's note, because this all sort of unfortunately fits back into the going from talking about the creativity to what Walter was just mentioning, is forcing us into these little boxes, apologizing for everything, having to have rapists in charge, or
we're the sinners always. We have to be sorry we're sinners.
We have to be sorry that we're even upset that rapists exist. We have to apologize for this. And then we have been taught that it's okay and that we need to downplay it in every way. And Andre, you sent a note this week to me, which sort of fits in with this because, you know, we had an individual on our side of the aisle, Eric Swalwell, decide that he was going to, where is that note? Why is it? Oh, there it is. That we had someone who finally got outed for who he is. And we have to acknowledge that. And the response that was given by this, I think, is a terrible way of acknowledging that from our side. And Andrea, do you want to talk about your note? Read it, say what you want about it, because this is going to kick off the rest of this conversation, because all the rest of the notes are pretty much along this line.
Well, this one came from reading so many of the responses from largely people on the left, appearing to be from the people on the left in comments about Swalwell. and you know, that this was a common theme, and it gobsmacked me that it was a lot of women saying, but this isn't enough proof, and we don't have any proof, and why should we destroy this poor man's career over these accusations when there's no proof? And it just went over and over and over with that. But then when Katie Porter was accused of being terrible to her staff, it was just like immediately, well, she needs to quit the race and she's terrible. And, you know, I don't know where I heard that, but somebody said it somewhere, so it must be true. And it shows really well how much the United States hates women. I mean, I say that all the time. The United States of America hates women. And this is an example of how even on the left, we hate women. You know, we don't believe women. If somebody says a woman did something terrible, then it's immediately true. You don't need any more proof. She needs to be canceled forever. And if a man does something terrible, then it's like, we don't have enough proof. We'll never have enough proof that he's terrible. So that was what I was trying to show in one note from just comments that people had made on different things that I saw around online.
Mm-hmm. You know, that honestly, that is the thing I struggle with, in that America hates women, because there's a part of me that just doesn't want to believe that. There's a part of me that's like, no, it's just bad men, or it's just, you know, but then again, it's like you see it time and time and time again, like with Eric Swalwell. It's like, you know, it's like all this stuff comes out and then you hear, oh yeah, it was an open secret, he was a scumbag.
And he's not the only one. You know, Jess Craven has done a whole takedown of Ruben Gallego over texts he's made, who's best good friends with Eric Swalwell was, you know, about how Democratic women aren't hot enough and sexy enough. And, you know, it's, and then when they come out, he's not apologizing for being a misogynist prick. He's mad that somebody leaked them.
Mm-hmm. Or he's mad that, you know, they can't take a joke, or, you know, it's like you're stifling men from being masculine, or you know, you like I mean, again, I mean, at this point, America hates women and we got to change it. That's where we have to start. We have to start there.
All of you do a good job talking about that as men, because it takes men talking about it, and all of you do. And your series on intelligent masculinity, I share it whenever I see it, because it's really important to talk about that. I mean, you're pushing back against this Christian nationalist idea that they pull from Genesis, that, you know, men were given dominion over everything. And so men have the right to rule everything because Eve sinned first and tempted Adam to fall with her. And, you know, so men have the right to rule everything. And that's what people like Doug Wilson and Joel Webbin and Pete Hegseth and all of these men believe that.
I heard Eve was mean to her staff. That was the
right.
Yeah. I heard a snake. I heard this snake talk to her and was like, hey, you should cheat on your husband.
Oh, boy.
So apparently it's her fault. However, my metaphor for the snake is that the snake was really a dildo and she just found herself.
Oh, boy.
I was like, I ain't need no man because this man's fucking stupid. This man is dumb. I'm out. I'm out. And she was like, I found me a snake, and said, fuck you, guy, and left. I think Adam is the original beta male because Eve left him. Eve left him for a snake.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, that snake was,
Oh boy.
was not what we say that snake was. Because she found God in that snake. And you know what? She didn't find it in Adam. So he's the ultimate beta. And we need to stop like lauding him as an alpha male in any way. Also, the alpha male stuff is fucking gross and stupid. And our friend Evan Fields put out a article just the other day on yesterday on Looksmaxing. And this fits into that whole thing, is where we hold men like so unaccountable for any action that they do, that we've literally created a culture where men beat themselves into like and break parts of their bodies so that they can have specific look ideals and demean women in the process, because one woman or one girl when they were a teenager was mean to them this one time, and God forbid it's his fucking fault that she was mean to him, and not her fault that she was defending herself or protecting herself or didn't like what he was doing and was just being a human who said, nah, stay the fuck back. And that's literally what we get now. We get Eric Swalwell, who is an open fucking secret on Capitol Hill, and it makes so much sense why he did not push back against Pam Bondi during any of the Epstein hearings now, and why he made it about himself when he was like, but people are threatening me. It was like, bro, you're the problem. You're the problem.
I want to know
on
how
that
many
note,
more.
I've got to.
Oh shit, we gotta drop. See, this is why I got to yours first, Andra.
Thank you so much, Andra, for being here.
Well, before you drop off, I've already got your QR code lined up here for folks to be able to follow you and subscribe to your work. Please shamelessly plug yourself and how people can support what you do.
I'm on Substack at For Such a Time as This. I have a website at andrewwatkins.com where you can get books that I've written. I don't talk about those a lot on my Substack, but I do have a New York Times bestselling memoir called Out Without My Father that you can read. I'd love to talk about estrangement with you sometime, Walter, so I'll reach out to you about that. I'm on Blue Sky at my name, Andrew Watkins, and that's it. So
awesome.
I love your accent. So I wanted to tell you that because you said, and I get teased for my accent too. So that's our identity. I love it.
Well, it was great to be here, y'all, and I hope we can do this again really soon.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks so much, Andrew. You are welcome back.
It's great to meet you.
Thanks. Great to meet all y'all too. Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Andrew. We'll talk to you again soon. And as we lose Andra for now, that was so much fun. Thank you, Andra, for being with us.
No, she's awesome, man.
If you're here on Substack, her name is still going to be appearing on the show. So please hit the subscribe button so you can subscribe to Andra. Also, post-show, subscribe to her. During show, subscribe to her. Do all the things. Like, she's so fun. I can't wait to have her back. This has been a great... As shitty as this conversation is, because men, we fucking suck.
Hey, we're allowed to have it. We have to have it.
We have to have it.
That's why. That's our victory. Take pride in that.
Man, you know what? I
didn't get to read my poem while she was here. Darn it! I lost track of time.
All right.
I hate these alpha male types because it's like, man. I do strength training, and when I was younger, I had bench squat and dead above 300 pounds, and I'm on my way back to that. Right. The thing that kills me is like all these guys that talk about strength. You know what the hardest thing I've ever done in my life is? Not the brute strength. It's not the physical stuff. It's taking accountability when I screw up.
Way harder. Yeah.
And it's and standing on principle when it's inconvenient.
Yeah.
Those two things to me is like, you want to call yourself a man, go do that hard stuff. Go do that. Like in Scent of a Woman. Without fail, I knew. And I didn't do it anytime because it was too fucking hard. Yeah. Go watch Scent of a Woman again. He's like, but this man. Seriously, man, that's it. It's like these guys don't like, they're weak. It's like, oh, well, look what I bench. Great. You're pumped full of, testosterone and all kinds of stuff is going to kill you. when you're in your 30s and 40s, who cares?
Yep. When I did
none of that matters.
I was gonna say, when I did the Inca Trail with those 2 Olympic athletes, and the one of them, he's like, because he had this whole thing where he had to interview people before he'd bring them along, because it was like this 8-day really hard trek through mountain passes at 16,000 feet, and he had to evaluate whether people could make it. And I'm just like, well, you never interviewed me. And he's like, oh, I knew you were going to be fine. I'm like, why? And he's like, because you're always laughing, you're always talking. He's like, the guys you got to worry about are these ultra masculine, like the posers who pretend they were in the military but never were, like ultra. He's like, those guys break right away. You got to get a helicopter in to get them off the mountain because they're so weak. And it's like, yeah, and the ones like, it's the positive masculinity is actually like the tougher men. That's the other thing. Like, if you're these guys that are like the good natured, okay, I'm going to roll with the punches. I'm going to get through this hard time with good humor, gallows humor, but a polite gallows humor where we're getting through not at anybody's expense, but to support each other. Yeah, that's where the power is. And that's why America's so weak right now.
There's honestly psychological grounding for that, because that's part of the Delta Force entry requirements. That's what they look for in psychological profiling, is like the guys who are these alpha and like, I'm badass. They typically don't want them because they won't make it. Because part of the entry for selection is they basically just give you land nav coordinates and tell you to keep going. They don't tell you, and they specifically make it to where it's psychologically you don't know. Like, they try to put that element into. They don't give you feedback. They don't tell you when it's going to stop, right? And they want to see how mentally tough you are. And that's the thing. These guys are just not morally or mentally tough. They're not. It's like they because again, they're so used to thinking, I'm the man. Oh, everything should bow to me. And when it doesn't happen, they lose their shit.
Yeah. They're so weak. We just have been normalized not to hit them where it hurts. If we change that, we could just bring them to their knees. But go ahead.
And that brings us to Andrew Tate, because he's
I was going to say, so Fred, talk about the note you shared with me this morning.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, like, apparently Andrew Tate decided to take his brand of grifting to Substack and immediately became a Substack bestseller because he had,
with 1.5 million subscribers now.
Right, which it's funny because like all his notes, like I get more likes on my notes, so how many of those subscribers are real? It's like, and again, for those people who actually think Andrew Tate actually writes anything that comes out, like he doesn't write any of it. He's got a team of ghostwriters and staff. This has already been uncovered by people like CoffeeZilla, where you sign up for his courses and you get into the Discord, you never meet with him. It's always somebody else that is employed or paid by him. Like, he doesn't do any of this on his own. But again, he was accused of sex trafficking and rape. Trump actually pardoned him for that because he got arrested in, I think it was Romania.
Yeah.
Which was funny. It was Greta Thunberg who kind of helped out him, because he was talking shit to her online, and there was in the video, or like there was a pizza box that Romania, and she forwarded on, and it's like Romanian officials were like, "Oh, we know where that's at. Let's go get it." And nice. That's how they try. It's funny because that's how they ended up catching him and his brother. But yeah, I mean, they're notorious like sex traffickers and everything else. But Substack, just like, real anti-Semitics and racist and virulent bots and all these horrible people are like, yeah, let's just put them on. Let's go ahead. We're going to make money off it. So fine. Okay.
This is Michelle Hughes. No, do you know her? I know her pretty well from Medium. Have you talked to her?
I'm not.
We'll have to get her on here.
I've interviewed her.
I know her through the space, and I share her stuff all the time. I'd love to actually sit down and talk to Michelle.
She would love to come on and talk. And we had a wonderful talk not too long ago, because she used to work in the newspaper industry before the oligarchs bought up all the fucking newspapers. Yeah, and I mean, this is one of these things we've talked about where we no longer have this pipeline for investigative reporters. I mean, it used to be you could get out of high school, you get a job for like $18,000 a year, and you could learn to be a writer. And it's like, that's fine. Even now, that's all I need to survive, because I want to write. I want to write. I don't need anything but a room and something to do and an audience. That's all I need. And it's been bought up, and it's part of this whole white supremacist movement where we're not allowed to indulge in creativity. We're not allowed to ask questions. We're certainly not allowed to expose evildoers. And and this is why I put so much pressure on the Democrats, because we have these antitrust laws. We need to restore like independent newspapers. So we have people that are knocking on doors. It's like, holy shit, this warehouse filled with trafficked people is owned by such and such senator. That guy needs to go to fucking jail. And they are just allowed to act with impunity now because everything is just AI trash. It's all from the same sources. We're not checking what there are no voices here on independent journalism, us. So please support us if you can afford it. We need it. But this is the last stand. And we have to make an effort to push for that, for more financing, to actually investigate for the people that don't have a voice. That's our job here. We're speaking for them.
Well, and it's I mean, it's funny because like the whole reason, to your point, Walter, that Eric Swalwell got outed was because of Fraz, right? And it was someone on Substack who she normally writes about education, and she talks about it in a video. Like she's basically said, I think it was some meeting years ago where it was like. And she started talking about Eric Swalwell because she came away from it like, oh, he's a good dude. And she started getting all these DMs from women who were like, he's a scumbag. He's did this. He did that. And so she started digging.
Yeah.
And was like, whoa. And she's the one that kept pushing on it and eventually got to the San Francisco Chronicle. And then it got to CNN and they vetted it. And even then, it's like, to Andrea's point from earlier, or her note, it's like, oh, well, where's the proof? And blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, wait a minute. You want to believe women like Ellie Leonard and Alyssa and Kate Justice and Alicia, I'm trying to remember her name. She's the Hispanic writer. You want to believe all of them who are doing, like she's doing work on the Zorro Ranch. Ellie Leonard's digging through the files. Kate Justice is doing good work on the Barr family. You want to believe these women because it's the opposition who you disagree with. But when it comes to our side and there's proof, credible proof, suddenly it's like, well, we got to raise that standard.
Yeah, people have told me they have dick pics from this guy, like on their phone, and it's like we need
they do.
Well, we need an archive of this shit. It's like if a new senator goes into office, all right, let's get a picture. If it matches what's in the database, if you've been doing this shit to people, you're out. I mean, it's like, but I mean, a lot of these women come forward. That's identifiable. If you got these pictures, that's him. See, this is what I got. Prove it. There it is.
And like this builds on to the thing of like we need to and somebody responded to me the other when I posted it, and I wasn't trying to be hyperbolic in the statement at all, is we need a DNA test system.
Jen Budd's idea.
Jen Budd talks about it, that forces any federal agent or federal officer, which would include every office of government, any officer in the government or any elected official, is you have to submit to a DNA test. Why not? Why not? Why? It would be so easy, because then we could just, and yes, it would require the next step of all of this too, is that we would also have to force the police departments and agencies to actually process all of the rape kits that they are holding on to. And that's part of the part that isn't always talked about, is like there's just a backlog of rape kits because nobody wants to process them, because believing women is too fucking hard for us to do in this country. So we just sit there and we go, well, you submitted it, but we're not going to do anything about it. Is those need to be processed, and every person running for office should submit for a DNA test, specifically men, but every person, so that it is not a sexist policy or it is not a inherently biased policy. Just because truth is biased against men who tend to be rapists more than women do, that's not my problem. I'm not a rapist. I don't rape people. I don't even try to. I don't want to try to. I've never wanted to try to. I like being a good, decent human being. And I enjoy having a spouse who loves me and cares about me. And people like Andrew Tate and these folks and Eric Swalwell and Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth. And I'm going to lump Eric Swalwell in with them because rape is rape. Sexual assault is sexual assault. We need to stop treating it differently just because it was someone on our side. The reason I'm happy that Eric Swalwell dropped out of both the governor's race and the House, resigned from the House, and then forced what was it, Tony Gonzalez,
Tony Gonzalez, yeah.
to also resign, because that would have been a fucking, I think shit would have gone down had he not resigned.
Well, they need to go to jail too. I mean,
the next step needs to happen is they need to go to trial. There should be no clemency laws, or
we can't act like
this is outside of the 8 or like whatever the years of, like, you can't submit this because it happened so long ago. No, you raped a person. And you assaulted, you sexually, and if you want to defend yourself in court, because public opinion, if you win on a true not guilty, then public opinion will shift. If you win on a there's not quite enough evidence, innocent is not the same as not guilty. And so at this point, like, accountability matters. And if you're unwilling to be accountable, especially in the moment, like U.S. men's hockey team getting fucking Kash Patel to join them, and celebrating them, and then not denying the trip to the White House because the president insulted women around the women's hockey team, who, by the way, are way fucking better than the men's hockey team, because it was a miracle that the men won, but it's expected that the women win. Is maybe we should treat women with the due respect that they deserve, because we expect them to excel at everything, so they fucking do. Whereas men, we're expected to be the weakest pieces of shit in the world and have everything handed to us and have no accountability for our actions or our emotions and our being. And so we get people like Andrew fucking Tate and his brother, Andrew Taint is what I like to call him, who's just a fucking giant nutsack. He's a nutsack of a human being, and he doesn't deserve your money, your time, your effort, and having to talk about him fucking sucks. We have better things and better people to talk about, but we're going to talk about people like this because we left a void out there for so long that these are the people who stepped up and nobody listened to us.
Here's the thing. What kills me, man, is why are our elected officials held to lesser standards instead of higher standards? That's what like, you know what? It's like, well, innocent until proven guilty. Okay, no problem. You want Eric Swallow to go to court. You want to have the trial. We have a process for that. Let's do it. But he's an elected official. He stepped outside of his marriage and has sexually harassed. He has these 5 women and he sexually harassed them. That should be disqualifying. That's it. You're done in your office. You're gone. Because again, I would point out as like, okay, forget Katie Porter being mean to her staff. Like, what if AOC was running around and trying to bang every dude that she could get her hands on and sexually harassing all the male interns and using her position and stepping outside her marriage? How many of the and 5 men came forward and said, yeah, man, she's sexually harassed me, blah, blah, blah. How long do you think the same people would say, oh, no, man, this got to be credible, blah, blah, blah? No.
Yeah.
We'd throw her out, like, almost immediately. Because, again, the sexual promiscuity for women, part of that patriarchy is it's not even close.
Or you'd get the response, and you would also at the same time get the response that men can't be raped. Men can't be assaulted. Those must have been weak. They really wanted it. They actually wanted it. Men can't be raped. That's not true.
Right. She'd be gone.
Whereas the thing is, like, men can be
the
raped.
head spin thing. She'd be gone, and then the victims wouldn't be believed because she'd be slut shamed out,
Mm-hmm.
and then the men wouldn't be believed for rape.
Yeah, because it wouldn't be about the rape that is important to people. If it was a woman doing it, it would be just about the sex. It would be just that she was having too much sex.
Oh, you got
whether that sex be legal or rape, that wouldn't matter because they don't believe men can be raped and they don't like women sleeping around because that's a man's job to do, is to sleep around. But guess what, men? If you want to sleep around, there have to be women who are willing to sleep around too. And you're lucky if you get to have sex with a woman because women are way, way, way more choosy than men are. And you're really lucky. You should feel honored that she chose you as a viable partner for the evening. So get off your fucking high horse, asshole. Like, go be a real human being, and when you wake up in the morning, make a breakfast or some shit. Like, just be a normal person.
It's like,
dude, don't ask for, or even don't ask for anything. Just like, don't ask, don't expect. You take up enough space. If she wants you, she'll tell you. Maybe approach if like, you're in a situation where it's like meaningful, like if you're at a coffee shop and you're a nice person and you just want to say hi, but don't expect anything. Don't come into that conversation going, I'm going to fucking sleep with her after this. I'm going to get her number after this. I'm going to do all of this, all of this, all of this. I was reading an article about this the other day, about like how men on the left are, in a lot of ways, many men are just as culpable of rape culture as men on the right.
Yeah.
Because they believe it too. And when men talk to each other in private, they assume that you are also okay with that type of culture. And they say some horrendous shit. Like, yes, we call it locker room talk. It's not locker room talk. That's sanitizing rape speak. And they expect rape speak to be okay. And when you don't push back on it, they assume that you're also okay with it.
Yeah.
And that's how we get so many men on the right or on the left who are still willing to demean women who are okay with these types of actions, or Eric Swalwell, who are willing to downplay what Swalwell did. Is he guilty? I don't know. A trial has not happened. Does that matter? No. The accusations are credible, and I believe them.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I mean, people ask us, like, oh, you expect public officials to be yes. I expect you to go and do the people's business. I'm not expecting
you there to rape people. I'm expecting you there to write laws and help legislate so that we have a good future, not fucking hurt people.
Yeah.
You're not a frat boy. This is not a freaking pleasure cruise. You're not there to to get rich and freaking take in donor. You were there to do the people's business. And you know what? If it's hard, good. Don't do it for 20 years.
Yeah.
Get out of office and let someone else who wants to do the people's business be there. We've gotten to this place where we've been convinced that these people can have carte blanche and act however they want and get all the perks they want and stay in there forever.
Yeah.
No.
I want this to not be the end of it either, because I am fairly confident there are a lot more men currently seated, both among the Republicans and the Democrats, who have behaved inappropriately. And now's the time. Everybody speak out. I mean, we celebrate all the brave ones who have spoken out already. And those, I mean, it's not to pressure anybody to do it, but it's so critical. We got to get the abusers out of there. And it's like, even my wife had an issue at her school where she had to go and file a complaint against somebody. And you get so much pressure when you're complaining. You're like, this mechanism is in place. So we have to have these support groups for the brave people out there who say this person is acting inappropriately. And we have to, and it's like we use the term believe women, but it's like it's not that our law enforcement doesn't believe them. It's because our law enforcement knows that they're fucking rapists, that these accusations they're making, and they're covering up. I mean, so much of our society covers up for these rapists. And we're at that moment of accountability now. It takes a lot of bravery. And like I said, I don't begrudge anybody who isn't quite ready to come forward, but for those who are, we have to offer our support and our encouragement, and we have to give them all the strength that we can.
And we have to remember too, when people come forward, they are reliving the trauma that they were forced into. Like, coming forward hurts. Coming forward is a painful act, especially when they're then not believed, or it's downplayed, or it's said, oh, but this person has such a future ahead of them. They could be president. Well, they could have been president until they raped somebody.
Yeah.
That should be an easy statement.
Yeah.
They could have done this until they raped somebody. That was their fucking choice. Masculinity, and it's my whole fucking series on masculinity, and I'll get into the discussion on this, is the willingness to live with the consequences of your actions and values. And these men don't have any willingness to live with the consequences of their values. Consequences of your actions and values. Let's say you inappropriately texted and then wound up in a room having sex with someone blacking in. This goes into my note here too. And Dana Dubois.
And they're not going to
said it
stop.
really, yeah, and
These rapists aren't going to stop.
No, they're not. And Dana Dubois said it really well. And I think somebody commented on this post too, is no can be changed or yes can be changed at any time. And when he didn't, that's in itself is an act of rape and assault. So here it is. The world would be so much better, will be so much better when men finally learn the easiest lesson. Keep your hands, penis, and everything else to yourself. Anything but yes means no. And not added here, but will be added or added right now and yes can turn to no anytime. Yeah. And you don't get to be mad when yes turns to no, because guess what? You would want that same level of fucking respect.
Yeah.
You want people to listen when you say no. You better fucking listen when somebody else says it. You want to listen when anybody says anything but yes. You don't, maybe things along those lines where you're not sure if you want to do something. This goes with anything, not just with sex. And I teach my kids this, and I hammer this lesson home. We hammer this lesson home all the time. And it's a tough one. It's a tough lesson for kids too, because they don't know. They're learning all this stuff. And we have to continually teach them what yes means and what other words around yes, maybe, and or no are, so there is no confusion.
I mean, look,
I teach my kids this all the time is you anything but yes means no. And when someone changes their mind, you stop, you end it, because you would want that same basic level of respect, period.
I'll take it a step further. It's like you honestly need enthusiastic consent, because a woman can give you yes, but she's you can tell she ain't into it.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
coercion. And here's the thing: you can hate the no. You can hate it. You can be an asshole and say all kinds of stuff, and that makes you an asshole. But you got to keep your hands to yourself and everything else, because if you force, or if you coerce, or you cajole, or you pressure, or it makes you a rapist.
I want to add this ties all in.
If you don't have an enthusiastic yes throughout.
Yeah.
Sorry, bud. It's time to stop.
Yes.
It's like you better hit. It's like when in aviation when the bag belt was malfunctioning. It's like you better hit that stop button.
Yeah.
Hit that stop button. You done. That's it.
Well, I want to say this ties into the indoctrination we were talking about before, Andrew, the white nationalist indoctrination, where you dominate, they justify domination and they just tell men that they're handed everything. Our children in our society, the boys, are specifically being indoctrinated to become little rapists at our schools. And this is why we got to push back when they talk about book burning and not teaching, LGBTQ plus. And it's so convenient. It's like, look. I realize these rape conversations are tough. Take it a step back then. Insist that they don't take the LGBTQ content out of the schools. Fight there, Fight about respect at that level. The earlier stuff. There's always a place along the line. This is all connected. And whatever you're comfortable with, we need you in this fight. We need you in it. And we just want to teach our kids to have compassionate, loving, careful, respectful relationships. So we stop fucking being led by child rapists. That's really what it comes down to.
Learn to hear a no and respect it. You may not like it, but you have to respect it. That's supposed to be what being a man is all about.
Yeah. Sometimes you lose an election. Sometimes you lose a basketball game. Be a fucking man, handle it with a little bit of grace,
And like our friends are saying in the chat is like if a woman says no and fights back, the man will charge assault charges on her or charge things because he wanted it, and it's the feeling that he deserves it, because again, our society has taught us, as fucking gross as it is, through Christian nationalism and white supremacy and bigotry and hatred towards women, is that men are due all this or are owed the space that they take up. Doesn't matter what space that is. That men are owed the space they take up just because they're men. We don't. Nobody owes us any fucking space. And until we learn that lesson, yeah, women are going to continue to be hurt and are going to be continued to be oppressed by the system. And that's why Fred, Walter, myself, Dr. Eric Lulov, Evan Fields, all the men, Lawrence Winterman, folks around us who are part of this group who are working forward. There's a reason we don't ask the women to do this work for us, because it's not your fucking job. It's not your job. You've tried, you've done enough. It's not your job to keep teaching men. Yeah, I mean, if you're a parent, obviously it's your job to parent your children and help your kids. That is not what I'm saying in this. For full clarity, it's men's job to teach other men fucking boundaries. It is men's job to take other men and say, no, you're a fucking asshole. You're acting like a rapist. You're going to assault that woman and she will press charges and I will corroborate it. If you say shit like that to somebody, their actions will change. Because you are calling them the fuck out and you're going to stand on it. And you have to then be willing to stand on it, because anything but yes means no. It's not even like maybe means yes. And this is a hard lesson especially for kids and dads. You have to emulate this as an example. So when your wife or your daughter or your son or someone else in your family says no, you have to also respect it, because your kid learns more from what you do than what you say. And when you don't respect no or anything other than yes, they don't either. And that's why we're in this fucking mess. It's because not enough men have stood up and just said, I'm going to live with this simple value of, I like it when people listen when I don't say yes. Maybe other people want that same basic level of respect too.
I had a falling out with a friend group when I was younger. I was about 21, 22. And, it was back when we were, partying pretty regularly. I was dating a girl, went over to my buddy's apartment. So it was one of them, we had two of them living together. And it was one of those, where they got the two apartments in it, right? So I'm crashed on the couch with the girl I'm dating. And, her friend had too much to drink and went into the room with my other friend, right? But she didn't want to do nothing. She was coherent enough to not do anything. Well, my friend at the time, he kept like trying to, scooch over, right? I found this out later. And he was trying to get her, to get in the mood where pretty much she was pinned up against the wall, right? Where she's just like pushed him off, blah, blah, blah. Finally, she had enough of it. And about 2 a.m., she comes out the room, and says, hey, she's asking like my girlfriend, like the girl's dating at the time, hey, can you take me home? And I picked them up. I said, so it was up to me to take them home. I said, okay, yeah, I'll and she lives about an hour away. It's 2 a.m. And I was just like, all right, I'll take you back. So over the course of the ride, she tells me what's happening, right? Nothing really happened, but he kept trying to push the issue and she didn't want to. And finally she's just like, nah, I ain't staying here. Like, and she's crying and she feels bad. She's like, wondering if it's her fault. And, like, cause I was in the bed with him. I just wanted to sleep. I didn't want to do anything. And I said, look, you didn't want to do anything. And he's trying to force the issue. That ain't your fault. That should have been enough, And so we had a falling out over it because it's like, he's like, well, what that bitch say? I said, well, that's what she said. Was it true? Well, why was she in the bed? I said, that's not what I asked you. Was it true? Were you trying to push her into, getting with you? Well, why would she be in there? Blah, blah. I was like, no. If she wanted to be there, she don't come wake me up at 2 a.m. She don't come out that room and say, Fred, take me home. So, you need to reevaluate this situation. And we had a falling out over it, right? Because I took her side. But it's pretty damn clear cut when I'm out on the couch and she comes out to the girl I'm dating and says, take me home at 2 a.m. And like, so, but that's the kind of, and I didn't associate with that set of group. I had to get another group of friends and, but that's what accountability costs.
Yep.
Right. Because it was like, and, even the girl I'm dating, she's like, man, I'm sorry. You lost your friends. I didn't lose my friends. It's not the kind of people I want to be around.
I saw who my friends are is what you did.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, I've been saying too, it's like, we got to stand up. For example, if a woman has her rightful position stolen from her by an adjudicated rapist and a guy who's been convicted of election fraud, we got to stand up and restore her to her rightful position. And this is kind of why I'm having a falling out with the Democratic Party and why I'm pushing so hard for progressive challengers who are willing to examine the data rather than just tell us, oh, we don't believe that. There's a lot of women who are election experts who are saying, hey, there's some stuff that ain't right. And we're all supposed to be quiet about that? I don't think so.
No, this fight's coming, bro. Like, this fight's coming in Democrats.
We got to make it come. And it can't come here soon enough,
and This and about a whole bunch of other things. Because you're going to have these neocons and these so-called moderates that come in and, it's like, well, guys, we can't talk about the trans rights thing right now. We can't do that. Well, we can't push.
They all got to go.
Can't push for equal rights amendment, guys. And they'll be saying the same stuff that the Republicans are saying about the Epstein files. Well, if we expose all these people, it's going to crash the system. Crash it.
They're going to say. They're going to start in with their purity test bullshit. I'm just like,
this sort of leads into your
note. You have to not be a rapist. Yeah.
This leads right into your note too, then, Walter.
I'll read this because
shit.
Oh, this weekend.
Love that note, by the way. I remember seeing that. I said, there you go.
I was getting so hot over Sunday is normally my day off day, but I was getting so pissed. I'm just going to read it. To all those assholes who say you can't vote your way out of a dictatorship, look at Hungary. Now sit down and shut up. The adults are busy fighting to win back our country. Fuck you guys. But that's the thing. There's so much pressure, and I wanted to go into it with Andra too, because all the pressure isn't just extreme right-wing stuff. All the bots try to divide us. They try to silence us. There's so many things we're not allowed to examine and I get so many people that are just, I'll say something like this. We got to restore Kamala. That should be our platform for the midterms. She's I believe, my opinion is she's the rightful president. Well, we don't have a mechanism. It's like, don't give me fucking your bullshit defeatism. Give me some solutions, asshole. And if you don't have energy for solutions, then go sit down and think of some, but don't sit and try to stop me and deter me from appropriate action. And there's so much effort from these bots and these artificial content that they're afraid. When you start talking about Kamala, I had one the other day where I just mentioned that, and somebody whose profile name was Tesla Dog. So I'm just like, you guys are so fucking obvious. You're so obviously a bot. Yeah, he had 8 subscribers. He's like, well, she takes APAC money, so she's our enemy now. It's like, I believe she's the legitimate president. And it's just like, wait a minute, why am I talking to fucking 8 subscriber Tesla Dog, who's clearly a bot? So you show it, but they come out, they're afraid. There are people in that sphere who are afraid of any talk of re-examining that election, even though all the Republicans ever do is continue to recount 2020. They continue to propose new ways to stop our ability to vote. That's their only platform is election theft. Our platform has to be election integrity. And I'm going to get poor Nick blocked from another platform for saying that.
No, that's all right. We're not on TikTok right now, so we're not worried about it. YouTube hasn't blocked me for saying election integrity, so we're not worried about it. But TikTok, I think I finally got off that warning too.
What's funny about all this, right, is and I love it. I love it when they start talking about all these procedural, legalistic things that allow establishment Democrats to be timid. Because think about this. Think about this, right? Every time you bring this kind of stuff up, oh, we don't have a mechanism for that. Oh, well, you got to consider this.
Get creative.
You got to consider that. Think about this. If you went to a coffee shop, let's say Starbucks, who's a union buster, but let's say you go there, right? And they got your coffee order wrong. Would you stand for? Well, you got to consider the profit margins. If we pour you another cup and we did that for everyone, we'd be out of business. You're going to go, are you going to take that? Or are you going to go, no, I want my coffee the way I ordered it and paid for it. And you would expect them to fix it. So why with these politicians that are there, supposed to be there for us, that you accept, well, procedurally it's tough. I don't care. It's your job.
Yep.
It's like Hakeem Jeffries coming out saying, well, we're exploring options about
Yeah.
20. That's your job. You're already supposed to know that.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we're not in power. I don't care. Do something, anything. That's your job. You're an opposition party. Go oppose stuff. Do it.
Go purposely oppose everything. Like, that's the one job you have.
Well, what's your plan? I don't know. I'm not in Congress. I'm telling you as an American what I want done. Go do it.
They could come brainstorm it on our chats, but they don't want to talk to us. They're too busy calling up progressive grassroots challengers in their primaries and telling them to drop out. The fucking DNC is anti-democratic, and we gotta hold them to this. You guys, the primaries are healthy, and we started out talking about this. Primaries are healthy. The Democrats got to be out there. We get multiple candidates canvassing every district, getting the voter base excited, and then if one of them wins, they go on to that office. Then you got name recognition for 4 or 5 other people, and then we win every other office. And the fact that the goddamn fucking Democrats are stopping primaries pisses me off. Go ahead.
The horseshit they just did in my district, in Colorado 4, which has Lauren Boebert right now, right? It's a plus 22 district. So Tricia Calvarese, who was a labor organizer and a labor lobbyist in D.C., she's actually from this district. She grew up in this district. She came back and, like me, was a caregiver for her parents who were on hospice care. They died, and so then she decided, hey, I'm going to run, because like the stuff I went through with the healthcare insurance and all that stuff and she's like, I'm going to run for office in this area. So in 2024, for for running there, we actually had a primary where you could vote. It was Ike McCorkle, her, and John Podesta, right, who was an independent. She won that primary, right? She lost to Boebert in 2024, for whatever, blah, 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 theft, anyway, she loses.
Yeah.
Okay, she loses by like 11 points, 10, like 8 or 9. Right. So she's been campaigning in the district still because she was going to run again. Right. Mm-hmm. And meeting with people and building that coalition and doing all the things that she's supposed to do. What happens? We have a candidate now named Eileen Laubacher.
That dog.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Eileen Laubacher, who worked for Lockheed Martin, was a Republican supporter who has still not said how many times she voted for Trump. She switched parties in 2024 to the Democratic Party.
Yep.
And suddenly, now we don't have a primary. We have assemblies that are like caucuses. And then when they go in and vote, it's, 80% support Eileen Laubacher, and they got shirts, and suddenly the DNC's pouring in money where they wouldn't pour in money to help Tricia. Yeah. And now what we're getting is, she's going to be better than Boebert. We got to focus on beating the MAGA people, guys. I know her husband works for Lockheed Martin, and you've got over 140 AI data centers in Colorado, and CD4 is having issues with water. Yeah. But you know what? You got to vote for Eileen Laubacher, even though she was a Republican until a freaking year ago and won't tell you how many times she supported Trump.
God.
Yeah, that's what we get. And so then you want to sit there and tell me, well, she's better than Boebert. I don't know. She won't tell anybody of her positions. She won't tell anybody how many times she voted for Trump. She won't. And her husband works for Lockheed Martin. Is she better than Boebert? I have no idea. She could be another John Fetterman.
Yeah,
probably is.
Because we actually had a progressive candidate with a progressive platform that was actually going to do progressive work for labor and health insurance reform and education.
They don't want that.
We had that candidate in Tricia, and the Democrats said no.
That down ballot stuff.
Came in and suddenly we don't have primaries anymore. We have assemblies. We have assemblies.
Yeah. Like the easiest way to get out of this is we continue to vote, and we have to vote in overwhelming numbers. But to do that, we have to have primaries. We have to have people that people want to vote for. We have to have candidates that actually care about and like. And most of those candidates tend to be progressive because progressives talk to people like they're real people, and they
are scared. They're scared to death of the primaries, and that's why oligarch media doesn't cover them. If we'd had a
primary, Tricia Calvarese would have won, because who the hell's Eileen Laubacher?
And let me congratulate both you guys have been with me on candidate interviews. I'm going to keep doing this. We're going to get people.
No, I think you're doing amazing work, dude. Like that.
I've got Kira Havens from the Citizens Impeachment Organization that's going to be on Friday for Banner and Backbone. Walter, I'll have you on if you want to join for that.
It's amazing how great these candidates are too. That Ginger, we were talking with Ginger Murray, and she's a lawyer, and they're just like, so I'm gonna set something up with her, and this will hold because there's a lot we can do on the state level to protect our elections. We get attorney generals involved, and we should be talking about election integrity. That's an important thing. Like making sure the vote counts right. That's just patriotism right there. And the fact that the DNC is like, nah, we're just not even going to talk about that. Yeah.
Well, and I'll say another thing about, these never Trumpers like the Bulwark and all these other people that have come in. It's like, look, so Olivia Troy just announced that she's running as a Democrat. And I'll say this, like, I have a lot of respect for Olivia Troy and what she did and standing up, and, and same with Adam Kinzinger. Do I think she needs to be a Democrat and run for office? No, not necessarily. Because what the problem is, because you like these people for stance that they took. Here's the thing. If you ever listen to Adam Kinzinger on his foreign policy positions, he's a freaking neocon.
I dislike him intensely.
I call out Adam a lot.
Him being on January 6th. I respect Liz Cheney being on January 6th and putting their career and standing up for integrity. Do I want them to run as Democrats, or do I want them? Would I vote for them? Fuck no. Because
they can go run as independents or Republicans and steal the vote.
Where do they stand on putting women's rights and equal rights in the amendment in the Constitution? Where do they stand on these issues? Are they going to stand up to the corporate donor class, which is the Epstein class?
Correct.
Are they going to be more establishment Democrats? Because, God, that is the last thing we need. And so that's the thing. You want to support these people? Man, go right ahead. But then ask them where they stand on these issues. Because, honestly, I hate Trump is not enough. It's not enough.
We can't be just against things. We've been against things in this country for a decade. We've been against Trump for a decade. People want something they can vote for. Not against, but for. Fear, yes, is a great driver, but the fear of not getting the thing that you actually really want, because you know what that thing is also a really good driver in itself. Is I have a plan. Here's the plan. Here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to get all of our policies done. Here's a 30, 50 year outlook. Here's our tricentennial action group. Tag, you're it for democracy. There you go, Democratic Party. Got your new tagline for your fucking 50-year plan that you can write out for all of us. It doesn't have to be Project 2027 or Project 2029 or some derivative fucking name. Tag, you're it for democracy. Get everybody fucking involved. There's the plan. There's a simple strategy. And at the end of it, in 50 years, we have, I'm saying 50 years. Hear me out for a second, y'all. In the end, in 50 years, that's our 300-year anniversary as a nation. That means we will have secured and lasted past Trump and Trumpism and MAGA and the re-rise of fascism and the old Confederacy coming back to life. And we finally get past this. How do we get to 50 years from now? We have a plan that outlines every single fucking step along the way so that when AOC gets tapped to be the next president, because guess what, guys? We do have a mechanism for Kamala Harris to be the next president without having to wait till the next election.
She could be president.
She's eligible to be the Speaker of the fucking House. And when we impeach, convict, and remove these assholes, guess who becomes the next president? Interim president or acting president? The Speaker of the fucking House.
But if she's the rightful president, we can do that too. There's multiple women.
I mean, yes, but if we want to play the game of, is there a legal mechanism to get her in place? Yeah, there fucking is. It's so easy. All it requires is to impeach, convict, and remove the sitting president with a Speaker of the House who is ready to be president from the start. We have a couple people who are probably ready to be president, and none of them are named Gavin Newsom. None of them are male. None of them have a penis in their pants. All of them are women, unless they are trans women, and then maybe you do, and that's you. I'm not going to ask anything about that because that's life, bro. Real world happens. But we need a woman. We need someone who is identified truly as a woman who can lead this nation, because we have taught women in this country, not on purpose because America hates women, but we have taught women in this country how to be the most capable fucking leaders in the world. Because we told them the only thing you're good at and the only thing you are valuable for is to run a household. You want to know what the fucking hardest thing to do in the world is? Is run a proper household so it doesn't fall apart, so that your kids are happy, your kids are fed, you're up, things are done. Have you guys ever tried to plan out meals every fucking day for the rest of your goddamn life? Not just for you, but for other human beings? It's hard. Plus keeping a house clean, plus making sure bills are paid or handled, or reminding people of appointments, or taking your kids to all of their fucking appointments, or reminding your husband he has to go do stuff and do appointments too. Like, it's a lot of fucking work and effort. And women have been taught to be incredible leaders. Not on purpose. This was not a purposeful act by the right. This was a regressive act that we wanted to do. However, this backfired because actions have consequences, and guess what happens when you put people into roles of leadership? They either fail or they step up, and women stepped up. And I'm not saying every woman has stepped up, but there are enough of you to know that what we're saying is true, is that women have stepped up, and statistically speaking, women are better at it and should be better leaders and are less likely to use their emotional outbursts to solve problems. When was the last time a woman started a war? When was the last time a woman started a fucking war or engineered a rape and child trafficking organization?
Yeah.
Which woman did that? Which woman started an international crime syndicate that rapes and peddles children across the world so that they can launder money and buy nations? Tell me, which woman did that?
Yeah.
I tell you, man.
It wasn't the woman. It was the men who abused the fuck out of them. Stop trusting men to lead. We're bad at it.
This is the thing that we're sold, like.
Sorry, Fred, I'll let you continue. We're not bad at it. Men aren't bad at leaders. We are trained to be bad leaders. We are trained to not be good at it. Men are just as smart and capable as women. Men, you are just as smart and capable. Statistically speaking, we have been trained to be worse at it. And so it takes us, we either are really bad at it or we have to work hard to get there. And it's okay that we aren't the ones in front of all of it. I don't want to be elected to office. That fucking sounds like it sucks. Sounds like a lot of hard work that I don't want to do, specifically speaking. But I know there are a lot of people who are really capable and who really want to do that work. And guess what? None of them have a penis between their legs. None of them. Anyway, Fred, back to your point.
No. I mean, you bring up a good point, because when I've literally led like thousands of people. You know, as an operations manager in aviation, I've worked in 5 hubs, and every single time, and this is to bad leadership. It's funny because I actually came in. You would think an organization like one of the big 4 for airlines would have a leadership training program with as many middle managers that they have. Nope. They were just implementing it in 2013 when I came in. And it was bare bones. Like, they were building it, like, even with all the former military and everything else, like, they were just starting to build like leadership development and training. And so, just with my military background as an NCO, I had a jump on a lot of people. And the thing is, man, and I saw this from men, I mean, I swear it was every single station I worked at. it was DCA, Philly, Detroit, like LAX. They all said the same thing when I first arrived. Man, you got to be hard on these guys, man. You can't take any shit, because if you do, they'll walk all over you, man. It's like a jungle out there, blah, blah, blah. Or, you're a manager. You can't ever be wrong. If you show them you're wrong, then they'll lose all faith in you. And that advice is absolutely 100% wrong. Mm-hmm. And I never took it because I was like, I know it's not going to work. And so, but when I approached people with respect and I supported them, and I was like, I listened to them because the crew chiefs and these people that were trained to do these jobs knew what they were doing. And they say, hey, man, I need this. Or they'd give me like, well, no, man, you're forgetting this, Fred, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, yeah, all right, let's adjust and let's make this. Da, da, da. I was a successful leader in my eyes. In the higher ups' eyes, sometimes I was, and sometimes I was. I was effective. I didn't have injuries as high as a lot of other people did because I didn't force them to do. Like, I didn't have, I had a better on-time performance. I had all these things, and it was because of the people that worked for me, because I could ask them to go the extra mile. What they didn't like was like, oh, you're paying these people instead of screwing them out of their time.
Yeah.
Because the system was just like, oh, they don't. Well, why is your overtime at this point? Well, because you needed me to do this and I had to pay them. Well, like, and basically they want to say, did you screw them on time cards? Because that's what you're supposed to do, Fred. Mm-hmm. They couldn't say it legally to me, but that's what they were implying, right?
Yeah.
Kick them off the clock. That's what they'd want. Hey, Nick, Walter, can you guys stay an extra? I need you to stay an extra 2 hours. But if I only need you for 55 minutes, you got to get off the clock in 55 minutes. I got to save that 5 minutes for the company.
Yep.
That's what they wanted me to do instead of saying, man, I got you for 2 hours. I okayed that. Hey, guys, can you go and tag out some of this equipment, and just like so we can get it in maintenance and blah, 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 or like just something easy. And, be like, yeah, man, thanks, dude. All right, no problem. We'll get that done.
Yeah.
And it's like, why is Fred's operation so much better? Because I did that.
Yes. And that's the thing. They would prefer that you do a bad job by their standard than a good job. Because I had the same thing in school. And it's the exact same thing you said. When I was teaching, they're like, you have to be hard on these kids. And I'm just like, no, we're together. It's a cooperative learning environment. I'll treat them with respect. And I got so much shit, from other teachers for doing it that way. Because they're like, well, then they're out of control when they come to. It's like, no, they're not. You're just pulling shit out of your ass. Because it's like, they're doing great. And they'll come in. It's like, well, that kid's doodling. It's like, yeah, that kid got 100 on the last test. If she likes to doodle while I'm talking, she's absorbing the information. That's helping her. Obviously, I'm not going to force her to just sit there like a robot because you have some perverse misunderstanding of how human beings interact and what authority means. But yeah, like they'll teach you to fail. Like deliberately, they put you in authority positions to fail and then to justify punishment. And that's that's why we spend $1 trillion on the military, and our police would be the third most well-funded military force in the world too. We solve every problem with beating people, and it goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning, the white nationalist, white supremacy, violence agenda of hatred, where we don't teach cooperation or kindness or humanity to anybody.
And to respond to a comment real quick too in our chat is I do not think we need a leader, I do think we need a leader with military and tech experience. I'll be honest. I think we need one who doesn't have either. I think we need a diplomat and a negotiator to be our leader, because the civilian leader of the military doesn't need to be from the military, because their job is not to come up with strategic plans and operations and tasking. It's to treaty with the military leaders and say, is there another option? Is there a diplomatic option? The president is supposed to be a prime minister more so than anything. Someone who treaties with our own military to say, should we do that? Should we really?
Correct.
Oh no, we lost Nick.
Hopefully
he'll be back.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
He's
in the void. The void got him.
Musical windows.
I brought you back. Good thing you have a level 36 magic user here. Otherwise,
it's a good thing I wasn't mad about the fact that men suck and we're doing shit.
you're right.
But
No,
yeah, like, no, we don't need military. We don't need
No.
the military leadership. We don't need the tech experience. A good leader hires the people who have that experience around them to do those jobs. That's why we have a department head for Health and Human Services, for the military. That's why we have a Secretary of Defense. That's the leader, or that's the experienced senior, like, that is the person, subject matter expert. There we go. That was the words. That's the SME.
What you really,
the president is your diplomat, the one who goes, nah, we need to negotiate harder with that. Nah, that's not good enough. Or, nah, we need to find a way not to do this war because we're going to bomb a school of kids or shut down a strait that 30% of the world's fertilizer comes through. And now we're mad because our exports that we need to build drone technologies can't come through anymore because we bombed this country that now owns a strait and is going to charge $2 million a fucking boat to go through. And now we blockaded them illegally, which is another act of war, which we have not authorized the use of any of these forces yet in Congress. And so, Congress, you need to do your fucking job because that's what you're there for.
And 4 Democrats voted to keep the war going on March 5th.
And those 4 Democrats, you need to be out of office.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what?
You should just resign. Just resign.
What you need for a president is you need someone that has worked with people in very tough like a social worker or running on
a mom who has raised like 3 or 4 children or more, who knows what the fuck they're doing, who has experience with leadership and wrangling stupid ass children who are running around yelling at each other in the halls of Congress. That's what they do. They act like children. They sit there and they fucking yell at each other. It's a screaming
somebody who will not forget the human cost, because Nick knows this and I know this. And I mean, Walter probably is his educational background. You get in something like the military, man, you get dehumanized quick. You know, you're just another grunt. You're just another person. Like, they may know you, but on a personal level, it's like, you know, if you go against the rigidity of the organization, then you are stamped out, right? It's the same thing in tech. Tech is one of the most dehumanizing industries that there is, you know, because again, it's like, well, you know, oh, well, if you got to work 70-hour weeks, who cares? I mean, that's just part of it. It's crunch.
Too lazy to work, are you? You're too lazy. You know, that's what they start telling you, right? I'm just asking.
I want a former bartender to be the president, because someone with let's say, hypothetically speaking, someone with a really good education who then became a bartender knows how to talk to people. Knows how to interact with human beings, knows how to listen, knows how to get wants and needs out of somebody.
Anybody who's had a real
good
job,
bartender,
like a job where you don't get paid enough.
Or is a host.
Now I want to be a bartender.
A good bartender knows how to host a crowd, knows how to speak, knows how to talk to people and get information and manage situations that can be really dangerous.
People who know what it's like.
We have a woman in Congress who's like that. Who'd be really fucking good at that job. I hope she runs for senator at least in New York and takes out some fucking idiot who's
a Republican.
Who's Republican light, because corporate Democrats are just fascists later, not fascism now. And we need to get over that. Corporate Democrats are not our friends. They
people
are not
who
our friends.
Have enough, who haven't had enough money to pay rent at the end of the month. That's what we need. Somebody who knows the struggle. If you're in Congress and you've made a bunch of money on stocks, you should be banned from from asking for donations from citizens until you have spent as much money on your own political campaign as you have made while in office outside of your salary. Anything outside of your salary that you have made, you should be required to have to put it back into your campaign if you're going to run again. And if not, you shouldn't be able to make that money. Well, they should support
that's bribery. That's bribery. That's all it is you're being bribed. We need to start talking about that too. Like, we need to be open with the ideas that we're going to talk about a whole bunch of shit that makes people uncomfortable. One of those things is lobbying is bribery, and it should be illegal. It should absolutely be illegal. Lobbying is bribery. And guess who take less money on average than others in Congress. Women tend to be bribed less often in Congress because they're more likely to say no.
Well, they know they'll be held accountable.
There are a lot of them in Congress who are bought off. There are very few in Congress, currently at least, who are good human beings and that I actually care about. And like that, I would say it would suck if this person was lost. You know who's on that list or not on that list? Men. Basically, none of the men in Congress until you've proven otherwise. I always come at men now with the air of, you might be a rapist.
Yeah.
If you're especially if you're in Congress, you might be a rapist. I don't know if I trust you yet until it has been really thoroughly vetted that you're not. And if you are, don't fucking run for Congress because it's going to come out and we're going to believe the women. Because yes, it's okay that women come out during congressional runs and tank a congressional campaign. That should have been taken care of years ago when she first probably spoke up and nobody wanted to fucking believe her. And it's been 10 years or 20 years that she's been holding on to this because nobody wanted to fucking believe her in that amount of time. And so she finally got it out there and she had to live all that trauma again and again and again. Instead, believe the damn women and then make the men who perpetrated those acts have to prove themselves innocent of it. Yes, I understand we have guilty until or innocent until proven guilty. That means you can't be jailed. That means they're not supposed to jail you illegally and like hold you. But not guilty and innocent are two different things.
But Nick, Brett Kavanaugh likes beer.
Oh yeah, I heard Brett Kavanaugh likes. You know the funny thing is,
pressure valve.
I was in a fraternity too in college once. I was in a fraternity and I like beer too, but guess what, Brett Kavanaugh? I never got accused of rape.
No, neither have I.
Easy line not to cross.
How these detestable men that we just keep elevating, and there's just nothing appealing about, any of them. This entire conservative movement, it's something's got to be done. They got to be moved on.
Yeah. And I said it the other day too, was every branch of government currently has a pedophile in it.
Yeah.
Every branch of government in the U.S. currently has a pedophile in it. Every single one. I can't prove that Brett Kavanaugh or Clarence Thomas or John Roberts or Neil Gorsuch, is that who it is? The other.
Dude, at this point with the Epstein files,
any of them, they're all.
Man. You're just
like statistically speaking, you're probably a rapist, guys.
Banks too, and just
all
the things.
Clarence Thomas and Anita Hill.
Yeah,
I mean,
Brett Kavanaugh is Brett, dude.
Brett
you got
Kavanaugh.
Just wait, bro. Just wait, because you're gonna lose your job too. And a lot of us, all of us, it should be all of us, but a lot of us agreed with the women who came out, believed the women who spoke up, and didn't need more information because the story sounded so fucking believable. Because it's easy to believe that those things happen when you've seen what those things happen look like because you're in, say, a fraternity and people are shitty human beings. And if you want to know who some of the worst human beings in the world are in college, are fraternity boys.
Oh God,
because
they have an earned stereotype.
They live the stereotype.
You can tell by the way they move. A lot of times, like the demeanor, the way these people get on you, they grab you, and I mean they'll do it to other men too. They grab, and it's just like, it's gotta be stopped. And it only is allowed to exist because we allow it to exist.
Now you know, so you can grow. Hey guys, now you know to just be better. Right. I don't have my Just Suck Less water bottle right now with me because it's in my dining room, but just suck less. Like that's literally all you have to do is keep your hands, your penis, everything else to yourself, and you will suck less just by doing those three things. Just by doing that, you'll suck less. And when you hear somebody say anything but yes, it means no.
Lucky for me, I have a detachable penis and I can leave it home.
Okay. So. King Missile. Yeah, all right. I lost it. I ended up buying it from a street vendor for $12.
I got a good deal on it.
I'm so glad we derail ourselves in these conversations.
It's
Fred,
true.
we'll have to have you back so many more times soon again.
It's like that line from Full Metal Jacket. It's a good Arvin rifle. It's never been fired and only dropped once.
All right, we have reached the top of our 2-hour window here, and we got to respect a little bit of time for ourselves. Is first off, go subscribe to Andra. She was with us earlier for such a time as this with Andra Watkins. She was so much fun to talk to, and there's lots of looking forward to more follow-up conversations with her because she's really awesome. So go support her, go support her work, subscribe to her. Fred, unabashedly promote yourself.
Yeah.
Frederick Pogue.
Pogue.
With my frat boy pick. And
talking about frat boys.
Mrs. from Middle-Aged Man on Substack. That's pretty much where I hang out most of the time. So definitely give me a follow there. Yeah, that's about it. If you want some progressive and unabashed thoughts at this point,
give me a couple minutes.
We need you in this.
Dude, I'm telling you, at this point, I'm just I'm not carrying water for nobody. I'm just calling balls and strikes.
Yeah.
If you suck, you suck, and it's it. It's like, well, Fred, you got to think about the. No. That's not my job.
Yeah,
it's not my job.
We're past the 3 tries. We're past all of it.
Oh, God.
You've had enough chances.
No, yeah. I'm not carrying water for nobody. It's like, oh, but what about the Democrats? Well, then they need to go out and prove and earn some votes.
Yep.
Yeah.
They got to come talk to us. They can come talk to us. We're sitting right here. If they got time to call up progressives and tell them to drop out of races, they can come talk to us.
Yeah. Demand they actually state what they're going to run on. And then, it's like, oh, I'm going to do this when I get to in office, and then hold them accountable and make them do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Period.
Make them do it. Love it.
Yep.
Thanks, brother. Walter.
Yeah, thanks everybody. And as I've been saying, I've been interviewing all these progressive candidates. That's been eye-opening. They've been all wonderful, and I need all your help supporting those candidates, sharing those interviews. We got to let America know it's the primaries. They're everything is distracting us from the primaries. The old school legacy media doesn't cover them because it's easier to buy the primaries. Then you have 2 bought candidates, and you get the illusion of a choice in the general. And the midterms are not where the fight is. The fight is right now. And it's the fight is now because nobody's covering it. So I need your support. The more free subscribers I can get, so more people can know about these candidates. If you're in the states of these candidates, you can get them on the ballot. America has the right to choose who represents them. And we have forgotten that. And I need more help. I'm going to take the rest of the day off. I'm tired. Last week, I overdid it. I found my limits last week. I didn't recover over this weekend. I have to sleep the rest of the day. Grassroots movements need everybody. I need all your support. Just sharing these articles. Both Fred and Nick. Woof, woof. Both Fred and Nick have joined me.
My dogs agree.
They've joined me in interviews. That helps build the audience. I'm going to bring them back on for more. But yes, we can get real people in office who are not rapists. That's it. That's the end. Let's elect people who are not rapists.
That's the bar, isn't it? That is the bar. Oh my God.
And it's such an easy bar to meet too.
You'd think it would be.
You would think it would be an easy bar to. It should be an easy bar to meet. Yeah. And Walter, I have so much good to say about Walter. So please, everyone, go support my friend.
Well, go ahead and say the things you were thinking.
And all the incredible work that he's doing, because he's putting in the effort. I will, Walter. I will compliment you, my friend. He's doing some fucking incredible work. He's coming out there and he's being vulnerable and he's being honest and he's talking about how he feels and what is impacting his life and how it affects his family. And you know what? We need more men to fucking do that. We need more men out here doing that, because then more men will be comfortable doing that at home and in their personal lives. And the more men we get doing that, the less men we have raping people.
And the less kids will have to suffer.
Yeah,
so many kids are suffering right now. That's the hardest part. All these kids have to put up.
And we can end this. We can end this. Walter is someone who's we will end this, not can. We will end this. And Walter's someone who is working on that and is part of that movement to end it. So support my friend Walter, support my friend Fred, support my new friend Andra. And then if you got some time, come support me here at Sick of the Shit Publications. I'm Nick Perro, not your dad. We're doing a lot of stuff just like this. We deconstruct masculinity. We break down the patriarchy and white supremacy and the bullshit around that. Make space for chronic illness and chronic conditions and what it's like to live with those in honest ways and honest discussions and conversations. And we write poetry and we have fun and we make fun of the assholes and we're making a manosphere that doesn't suck because we want to suck less. We want to make it so that women aren't afraid of men, and it isn't all men, and it doesn't have to be that bullshit because it should be done by now, guys. It's 2026. We've been like a long time. We've been trying. Like, can we just grow up a little bit here, dudes? Like, just easy.
Try something new. Yeah.
Let's go away from the micro syndrome and go to the macro syndrome where you feel good about yourself because you're part of a community. You're part of something bigger, not something small, not something tiny.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Fuck those guys. Fuck those guys. And if you want, please come join us at the Sick of This shop where you can get Notes of the Week merch, such as the Now You Know So You Can Grow coffee mug. We have it in left and right-handed formatting because I'm left-handed and I like things so that the cool picture can show on the front. Or you can get the matching hoodie and you can have Walter and my face hanging out on your coffee mug or on your back having a good time because we want to. Walter out here.
This is great.
Me, peace. Fred, you're getting into all of it. You're stuck here with us.
I know.
That's what we do. All right, friends. Let's go have a great day. You'll see me here in a little while. I should be back on here in a little while with Melissa Corrigan for the second of our amazing mom guests on intelligent masculinity, to get a new perspective and hear from some of those who have taught intelligent men and boys to grow up.
I want you to start out that conversation with Melissa and tell her that she needs to calm down for me. Like,
whoa! Yeah.
Tell her as a Marine.
You start getting excited, Fred. Yeah, it's like
tell her for me as a U.S. Marine sailor, you calm down a little bit. Just a little bit.
I'm gonna tell her that she needs to lower or raise the sails and let the wind and just let the sea take you. Get that wind out of those sails.
I am the storm. Yeah.
Yep. I'll make sure to do that for you, Fred. That sounds like a winning condition on my part.
There's no way. I'm not that brave.
Not that brave.
The pause before the response would be the thing. Just the huh, and then unleash the Kraken.
Unleash Melissa. And
I love Melissa.
Listen, honey, you just need to calm down.
Really push out my substance. She's great. I love her.
Listen, Linda.
Melissa's my favorite. I love her.
All right, guys. You guys are amazing. This has been so much fun. Fred, we'll have you back again soon because these are so fun when you're here, brother.
No, yeah, I love it.
And again, as always, you're welcome to the Diogenes Club on Thursdays to come hang out with us.
You got to hear my poem that I wrote for you. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
you know
and
what? I'll show up just for that.
Oh, I got to be ready. I got to print it out.
Okay, guys, we're going to close out our show now. I'm actually going to do one final thing, and I'm going to read it because I said I was going to read it during the show. Okay. I haven't read it yet. It's the poem from the Diogenes Club because, Fred, you got to hear this one. This one it's a sonnet called Operation Epically Fubar.
Okay.
An epically Fubar operation. Tomahawking a school to free the kids. Liberating life in ways war forbids. It's fucked up beyond all recognition. An epic attempt to distract from crimes. Pedos, rapists, and destroyers of life. Hiding hate behind war, causing world strife. It's fucked up in ways breaking all our minds. An epically Fubar way for control. Red flags, red hats, red hearts are the true threat. Trample freedoms, take rights, live in their debt. Chaos to power is the final goal. Fucked up way to hide, steal, cheat, and destroy. Fucked up way to try to take all our joy.
Yeah.
And we'll leave you with that, y'all. Let's go have a fucking good week now.
Yes.
Let's
Let's
go
do
take on this epically foobar shit and continue breaking it down because we're done being sick of this shit here. And now we're doing this shit. Have a great one, y'all. Thanks.
Bye.